Okay, here we have another blue-red Faeries matchup. This time we're playing against blue-white-red Control. Unfortunately, game 1, the replay for game 1 bugged out, but as I understand, I lost that one. So this is a post-sideboard game. Afraid I can't give you the whole match. So here we drew it's a fairly reasonable hand. We've got a Spellstutter Sprite, we've got a couple of Mana Leaks, we've got Electrolyze, and 3 access to all our colours. Lead off with a Misty, leads off with a Colonnade. Gonna go Steam Vents to Sulphur Falls, draw into the Spellstutter Sprite. Actually tempted to play out the Spellstutter Sprite here, just so our second Spellstutter has a chance of countering a 2-mana spell. Obviously, against blue-white-red Control, seems most of their spells are sort of around that 2-mana mark, at least the important ones. So that's why I decided to do that. Might have been a bit of an error. As it turns out, I think he uses Lightning Helix on it. So I'm going to play out my Conclave here. Pass the turn again. Opponent drops it in Hallowed Fountain. Plays that Colonnade. Electrolyze on the end of his turn to draw a card. See if he wants to counter that, but it seems he's happy to let it go. I'm going to play the Tech Edge, so unfortunately this probably means the Conclave isn't going to get a lot of joy here. Electrolyze again on the end of his turn. Get my own Tech Edge. I'm going to blow up my Conclave. I'm going to blow up one of his Colonnades in response. So don't really have a lot of ways to deal with those. And kind of puts us on the equal mana footing. Trying to use Magma Jet. He goes for a Spell Snare, so I'm going to use one of my Spellstutters. Fortunately, using Electrolyze to kill the Spellstutter, which means its ability, which counts the number of Faeries you have in play, then doesn't work out. So kind of was on the losing end of that one. It's a bit of a go thing going on. Just had to bolt him there, just knock him down a bit on life, and then goes for a Teferi, which is definitely something we don't want to see. Turns off all our counter spells, so very happy to Mana Leak that. Also, we drew Blood Moon here, which is pretty awesome if we can actually stick this. Might just be game over for our opponent. He has no basics in play, and having all mountains probably isn't going to be good for him. Fortunately for me, he actually taps out again for a Gindura, so not only can I counter that, I can actually stick my Blood Moon this turn, and I also draw a Scalding Tarn to fetch up another basic island, so I'm going to have no problems. Double blue is the highest mana requirement for the deck, so I can actually play all my spells now and play this Blood Moon pretty happily. So yeah, that pretty much wraps things up, as I believe. So yeah, opponent was a little bit foolish, I think, in tapping out twice in a row up to my open mana, and caught him with the Blood Moon, which is nice. Definitely something that you can just win games with against a deck like blue-white-red Control. So that went pretty well, post-sideboard game, and just going to move on to game 3. Sorry I can't tell you more about game 1, how that went. Just the replay bugged out. So this is our hand. Fortunately we can get Steam Vents with this Misty Rainforest, otherwise we would be struggling on colours a little bit. Otherwise it's fairly decent. Sign of Wound is not too exciting on its own, but it does work well with the Moot Vaults, so yeah, not too bad at hand. I think worth the keep. It's also got some counter spells to see off anything that he's doing, potentially. That was good to have additional colours. Also probably going to make this Snapcaster a little bit more relevant. Electrolyze on the end of his turn, draw me an extra card. Just to Electrolyze me, I go for the Mana Leak. I don't know if it was worth trying to Mana Leak the Electrolyze. but didn't work out for me anyway, and so I ended up getting hit with a spell snare. Probably not worth. I kept that particular mana leak for something a little bit more relevant. But tries to tech edge our steam vents, which is a little bit interesting. Not quite sure why he wants to do that rather than get the moot vault. I decided to respond with Sign of Una. That way, there's an interesting interaction with Sign of Una and moot vault when everyone uses tech edge. In that if you activate the moot vault, it then gets shroud thanks to Sign of Una, and then the tech edge can't actually destroy your moot vault. That didn't have a lot of relevance here. I just wanted to play out the Scion, and because hopefully we're going to play out a couple of these and then give them both shroud, which makes them quite difficult to deal with, and then also get some pretty big pumps on these moot vaults. So I'm going to tap for 1 here, pass the turn, and goes for a Sphinx's Revelation for quite a lot of mana. So to play out my second Scion, which is pretty cool. So now they both have Shroud, and quite difficult to deal with. Also, I'm going to have 4/4 Shrouded moot vaults. Didn't really play around Pyroclasm or something like that, and also wasn't really playing around Supreme Verdict, things like that either. I'm not sure if he would have actually brought them in or sided them out. I'm not sure how many creatures he saw from me in the other games. I mean, I guess he does know I'm Faeries, but I don't know whether he would have kept in mass removal or not. Managed to get a moot vault with the tech edge there as I tapped out. If I had not tapped out, I could have actually activated the moot vault and protected it from the tech edge, like I mentioned earlier. So that was a disadvantage there of tapping out, but we still do have 1 moot vault, and it is going to be a 4/4 at least. Or actually, there are another Sign of Una, which is pretty awesome. Goes for Electrolyze. I'm going to play out my other Sign of Una, just while he's got 1 mana open. It's kind of a risk. Obviously, I didn't really play around Supreme Verdict playing this way, but he does play around Pyroclasm, which is something that he could potentially have. To be honest, I was just trying to be aggressive, get the game over as quickly as possible. I mean, if he did wipe the board, I'd still have my moot vault, so it wouldn't be the absolute worst, and we could draw another land or so. Maybe we could protect it with Snapcaster Spell Snare or something like that. So we'd still have options available. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but it would be a bit of a blowout to see him kill off. So he goes down to 10, plays that with an Endilion click, takes my click, and pass. I draw Blood Moon. Could play it, but I think I'd rather just have my activate moot vault. I think I'm just going to activate moot vault here and attack actually. Then I might play Blood Moon post combat, depending on what happens. I'm just going to be able to take him down to 1, and opponent concedes. I think I probably would have played the moot vault there, just give him less options on his turn, or at the very least to tap him out on the end of his turn. So give him less options just generally, I think. But yeah, as it turns out, that worked out pretty well, and the heavy Sign of Una draw worked out pretty nicely, particularly with the moot vault. So yeah, we managed to blue-white-red control, which was pretty surprising to me. Deck's definitely not easy to play against. Electrolyze is kind of a pain as well. But you do have quite a few options, being a more controlling deck with your counter spells, etc. And Blood Moon is quite nice out of the sideboard as well, as we saw. So yeah, good matchup.